When I was a kid, I was always a jokester. I was always getting in trouble. But I used to feel something. When I would make people laugh, sure, maybe a little bit was attention, but I felt something real. And I carried it with me my whole life. Making people smile is why I'm here. I'm a storyteller. My name's Jimmy G. And this is my story. I started recording videos on my phone, and my buddy, oLd, said, you need to go get yourself a camera and do this for real. So I did. And I got the editing software, and by the grace of God, I was able to do it without no training. This is the very first video of me with that new camera. This was the very moment I knew I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. With this newly discovered skill, it touched my soul so deeply, it was like a spiritual awakening. Now that I know I have this skill, what am I going to do with it? This version of me still has a lot of doubt inside of it. Things were starting to come together here. Why listen to that Miami Vice music, that Indian flutes music? Why did I love it so much? Why did I love the movie scores so much? Because that's the way I see life. Life's like your own movie. And in my movie, the music plays, the vibe is tremendous. And I'm just there, in the moment, man. I had no idea what the hell I was doing back then. But I needed to get eyes on it. And that's when JGTV was born. It was like the vibration that I feel at times in my real life experiences. I was able to put it on video. And that's what got me hooked. See, at the time I was an arm wrestler. And I would go to the events and I would film them and turn them into one-take action movies. I was flying all over the country doing this. Met a lot of amazing people. Found a brotherhood. I appreciate all those memories and all those events. I miss you guys. 2020, 2021 was also a year I took a lot of adventures. And I used psychedelics to look inside myself. I opened up all the doors. I realized things about my childhood that were affecting my adulthood. I never told anybody this, but in that same year, 2020, I had a UFO encounter. This red, flashing orb. It wasn't even like a spaceship. It was like an orb. Came down from the sky. Cherry Springs Park. The orb looked around for a little bit. It messed up our headphones. We couldn't listen to our music. And we froze. And once it noticed us, it took off. But for the next 2 years, it would show up every once in a while. It showed up there in San Francisco. You just seen it. It would show up in Philly too. Now, I'm not advocating the use of LSD. But I'm just telling you how it did me, how it worked for me. Whenever I went on a trip, everything was very carefully planned out. It was like a spiritual experience. It wasn't to get high. I was either had a big question in regards to my life that needed answered, or create something creative usually would come out of there. A lot of times, pain would come up, and then I would sit there and deal with it, and I would actually be able to heal through some of these trips. I felt very connected to everything. It helped teach me how to appreciate small things in life, like beautiful clouds or a sunny day, or hanging out with your parents, or just being alive. All the wonderful memories I had with my children. I mean, sure, you can do that sober. Sure, people do that sober. But when you're tripping balls, dude, everything's in maximum overdrive. All your feels, all your senses, everything's enhanced. It's like being in the damn Matrix. It's like Neo. Now, looking back at all this, sure, I should have just prayed to God. I should have just submitted to God's will. But at the time, it was an inward search. I was trying to do it all by myself. And it worked for a period of time. It was sort of like going to rehab, but for the soul. And instead of me having a counselor helping me fix my problems, it was me, myself, and I, my buddy, and the universe and its elements. This was such a liberating and free time in my life. I had the freedom to explore my creativity. I was traveling. I was meeting people. I learned empathy. And my bullshit detector meter went Skills went through the roof. I can see right through people now. Words can be beautiful, but it's the body movements, the behavior, the eyes, the twitch of the eyes, sudden body movements. Now, shortly after the UFO incident in Cherry Springs, we were exploring this building. Now, mind you, the orb was red, and we see the red balloon. It was shaped like a red orb. I used to call it the red fucking bull. I'm gonna show you people something you're not ready to see, but we're running out of time. After the UFO incident, I had this all of a sudden ability to be able to take the videos and split them in half and pull entities out of it. I attributed that to what happened that night. Nobody could ever help me decode what these entities are, but I know it ain't bullshit because I would be editing and something would tell me to stop, split it, and then that's when all this wild shit would come out. This place was nuts. We had it all to ourselves. It was closed. We shouldn't even have been there. There was something down there. When we got to these steps, we weren't gonna do it. Something just was off. Something was down there. So down the corridors we went. And the wonders we found down there. Whatever the hell it was communicating with us telepathically, no words. I can't really explain it. It was more energy, emotions. They were saying they were going to teach us. From that moment on, I had access to a part of my brain that I never had before. I infuse each video that I make with vibration. I don't say nothing about it. Because the right person or the right people, they'll get it. Those are my people. But all this, it's merely one chapter in this long story that's been brewing in my head for a long time. The idea, I gotta get it out. I have a lot to say. I've been through the ringer. And if there's one thing I've learned through it all, no matter what you're going through, love kills the demon. The birth of this thing of ours, started with a show called Game of Arms. I had been an athlete my entire life. Football, baseball, track and field. But I never did anything that was one-on-one before. I was exposed to a level of competition and a brotherhood that I've never seen before. Why? Why do they do it? Why do people from all over the country and the world gather in one place to arm wrestle? Over a period of a few years, there was a trilogy, This Thing of Ours. But I never really explained the title and what it meant. This was January 2021, my first big trip, my first big event, Petaluma, California, where arm wrestling began. And yes, there's that red fucking ball again. Now up to this point, I've done live commentary for these events, but I never did a big production before. This was the first one. So to say I was nervous would be an understatement. My goal was to capture the feeling in the videos. My goal was for the world to see what I felt and what everybody in the sport who loves it felt. There's a lot of characters, interesting people in this sport. Women who are tough as nails, old heads, who beat young lions. Looks are deceiving in this sport. It's all heart and technique. A guy out west named Paul Italia noticed the progression in my work and asked me to fly out for an arm wrestling seminar with middleweight champion Todd Zilla and some other high-profile names. At this point, as I'm walking down the hallway, I'm trying to visualize what this thing's going to look like, what I want it to be, what's the move here, what am I trying to capture. I hadn't flown anywhere in years, so I had a million things going through my head. I didn't want to fuck this up. I wanted to do a real good job because this was a make or break. This either catapults me to where everybody knows me in arm wrestling, or I fucking blow it and I'm just another fucking bum off the neighborhood. You gotta remember, I'm still pretty new at this camera and in this sport. So the fact that I'm even being flown out to California to do what I just recently discovered that I love so much, in this new sport that I love so much, an extreme amount of gratitude on this flight. That's what I learned over time. You can't make it what you want it to be. When you go to these arm wrestling events and I would film them, you're just a fly on the wall. You just gotta capture the right thing at the right time. You know, the way I look at everything, where I'm driving, where I'm at, who I'm talking to, geometry, angles. Why? It's like I'm watching a movie. What angles would I shoot at? It was always like that. And now I know why. Now I gotta put it to good use. This was the moment that changed my life, man. Ran into a guy named Joe Drellick, aka Joey D.
Yo, this view is tremendous. Hey, Joey D, say hello to the people.
What's up?
My West Coast paisano, Paul Italia.
Now I'm a lot to take in at first, and Joey didn't know what to make of me until this moment when he got to see me do my thing. I cracked the window and I just let her rip, man. Just was in the moment. I loved every minute of it. He told me, that's when I knew you were one of us. Now I draw like I'm in first grade. I'm okay with that. But I had this weird ability to take regular videos like a drive and really trip them out, man. You gotta understand, most of my life I spent in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So to be out in California like this, especially for this reason, I'm fully immersed in this experience. Guys from the city gave me the nickname Jimmy Walnuts because I got the same last name as Paulie from The Sopranos. And that was a whole alter ego in itself. Angles, geometry, shapes. I don't know why, but that's my thing. Arm wrestling kept you accountable. You'd travel to these things. You'd have a ladder, a group of guys that you had to beat to get to the next level. This forced you to keep your ass in check when you weren't around them. Because when you met up to tournaments, that's when you got graded. On your way to the tournaments, most people would drive this feeling would creep up your neck. The anticipation, as the time was getting close. You're about to meet your rival. You're about to whoop his ass. There was this movie, Over the Top, with Sylvester Stallone in the 80s. And there was this part where he would flip his hat backwards and he would change into something else. And this was something that was very necessary in the sport of arm wrestling. And when you walked in the building, you could feel it. Because it wasn't just you. Everybody felt like that. You know what that feels like? The movie Rocky made you feel something. Goodfellas made you feel something. There's movies that we watch in our lives that made us feel something. And that's what I was going for. When I did my videos, I was going for the feels. I did manage to catch us having some fun on this trip. This is a funny ass John.
Get him, Paulie. Oh my God, it sounds like Godzilla. I gotta see one of these things. These things are chaotically scary.
This is hilarious.
I did. Oh my God! Do you see that one? Oh my God, dude. It's a fucking horror movie. Oh my God. Oh. What?
Jerry the driver. How you doing, Bob? MVP of the weekend.
Great, man.
Are you having a good time?
Having a blast.
It's only Saturday.
I seen you looking fine when you run. I made my mind up, girl, it's meant to be. Someday, lady, you'll come to me. I wear the ribbons, need to shine. It's so good. I know now you're wild and free. Oh, someday, lady, you'll come to me.
Now we know why Paulie's in the sport of arm wrestling. He's trying to bring it back to where it started. It's going to be a long road trying to grow this sport in the name of evolution. But the pieces are being put in place, one event at a time. This may be a lot for some of you to digest at once, but stick around. It's going to be worth it. We're just showing you the beginning. It's only getting started. Stay tuned to...
It was mostly business, but the last night I got to travel the city a little bit and absorb everything. I take a little piece of everywhere I go and the important people I meet, and they stay with me. All I do is just film the flowing water. And then while I'm editing, something says stop and split. And weird shit comes out of it, brother. Trust me, brother. So during the trip, I learned a whole hell of a lot from one of the smartest minds in arm wrestling, Todd Hutchins, Toddzilla. I made some new friends, and I realized that this sport connects people from all over the country and all over the world. That's aside from the sport itself. It's a whole part of this sport that's not showcased enough. Families, friends, wives, they all gather. It's like one big fucking family. And that's what this thing of ours was. It wasn't just the arm wrestlers, it was everybody. It was the families, it was the kids, it was the wives, it was everybody. Everybody was a part of it. If you go to my YouTube page, The Church of Arm Wrestling, you could see the trilogies in their entirety. The arm wrestling was legendary. The music, unmatched. The vibe, forget about it. You gotta see it to believe it. These were the good times. Little did I know that pretty soon my life was gonna take a drastic turn. One more thing. On that final night, I got a visitor from an old friend. A little red ball. All in all, the trip was amazing, and it was the beginning of me traveling everywhere to capture this thing of ours. But this is just one chapter in a long story of mine called The Idea. Is everybody in? Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The ceremony is about to begin. This mind-bending experience is the beginning of the end of the beginning. Who knows? If I could put it into one word, this is the story of the in-between. Hosted none other than yours truly, Jimmy Walnuts. There was bad energy in the house, so she lit up these special papers. She lit them on fire, and then she started running through the house. And I'd never seen nothing like that before. And I thought, what the hell have I done? Beanie Man, remember him? Beanie Man was our good luck charm. This little Buddha fat dude, we'd flick him like this, and he would give us good luck. I miss Beanie Man. She had this way that she looked at you. If you stared at her too long, you could feel this energy taking over you. Did a lot of listening in the beginning about her growing up in Vietnam, about her brothers, her grandfather, her spiritual beliefs, her love for God, all the paranormal stories. I did a lot of listening, a lot of downloading. One night we were walking in Manayunk, and it started pouring down rain. Instead of being all butthurt about it, we just kind of laughed and we held hands and we just ran through the rain like two kids. I remember it like it was yesterday. She introduced me to the Asian market and opened up all these new taste buds. I used to call it sexy time. It's the part of the Asian market where all the sweets and treats are. It's still my favorite part of the grocery store. when we'd walk home from the grocery store, she'd have me push her in a little grocery cart, and she would sit inside of it with all the stuff we got, and I'm just pushing her through the neighborhood in a shopping cart. This is when I knew I was in for it. She's in a full-blown dress. They do dress to the nines, mind you. And she's in the cornfields, stealing corn, looking like $1 million, laughing her ass off. I'm like, what the fuck am I dealing with here? Now, mind you, things are much, much different now. But you gotta know my head space at the time. Now, on this particular night, we were headed to the Philadelphia Art Museum to see this dark crystal. And let me tell you something, brother. This shit's about to trip you out. From the outside, it just looked like a dark crystal. But the more we circled it, and the more I looked at it, and the more we looked at it, there was a whole bunch more going on inside. I don't know about her, but I felt a multitude of different experiences from different lifetimes inside this thing. And you could see little clues of it. Something wanted to get out, and something wanted to get out bad. They would tell me when, and I'd snap the picture. To this day, no one's been able to help me with any of this. What these things are. I thought I had it all figured out. I was on my way. But then I found out that I was too nice. Nobody took me seriously. I needed to tap into my dark side, my Aries, a little bit more. I warned her, I said, please don't. Starting to question everything that I've went through, everything leading up to this point. Was it all bullshit? But then again, she's got a point. I've always been the funny guy. No one ever took me seriously. So there was a big clash. This battle within myself would cost me everything, eventually. But at this particular moment in time, we hadn't really started arguing yet. We were still getting used to each other. Every moment where it was so intense in the beginning, I just kind of went along with it. So slowly, I began to say goodbye to who I once was. How I thought, how I felt in certain situations, decisions that I would make, things that I would accept. Everything was starting to get flipped upside down. You start finding out you're more jealous than you thought. You start finding out you're insecure about things you didn't even know about. All these things are being brought up and exposed. So what do? You run? You face them and deal with them. This is a slow unraveling of myself. would send me down descent into madness. Three years later and out the other side of it, it was absolutely necessary. I wouldn't be who I am today without all those experiences. But going through it, I was a mess. Later on that year, Hurricane Ida came, about September. It was a flood. I was on my way home from work, and this puddle I drove through killed my car. And the water was rising. It rose to the top of the door. I froze. I was going to stay in the car, but the guys finally convinced me to get out. I grabbed my camera equipment bag, and I ran for the hills. I ran. I called her to pick me up. I ran for 2 hours, and finally she scooped me up. Many parts of it, the water was up to my waist. I'm surprised the camera equipment made it. I'm surprised I made it, but that was our first sort of life or death experience together. Without the car, I would eventually lose my job. Now I got no car, no job, can't pay the phone bill, got no phone. Now I got no job, no money, no nothing. I wish that everybody would be homeless just once. You'd be amazed at what you learn about yourself. Because a little bit after this is exactly what we were. But all this is just merely one chapter in this long story I got in my head called The Idea.
I'd like you to just let go, as best you can, of the distractions of your outside world and begin to enjoy these senses of your own developing internal world. And you may begin to discover, as you do move a little further into your peaceful awareness, that it's often much easier to notice those other non-visual senses within us. And notice too that your breath has its flow, just as your thoughts have their flow. Noting how each thought can arrive, and then each thought can go.
Welcome to our city. This is Philadelphia. This is me on my electric motorcycle. I used to ride this thing everywhere. I rode the entire city, forget about it. Today, we're heading to Penn's Landing. Because I would like to show you people just how beautiful some parts of our city is. I would ride for hours when I was living with my pops. I would ride for 8-10 hours a day. He would say, "You're crazy." I said, "You know what? You're right. But you know what else? I don't give a fuck, Pop." Just being outside in the sunshine, just absorbing everything around me. I'd have my tunes playing that you're probably listening to right now. Bliss, my friends. This place right here. This is one of my very special places I would go. I even dropped a couple of hits one time, LSD, and rode my bike around here. Talk about an adventure. Always people having a good time. A lot of people exercise around here. It's just really peaceful during the day. Don't go there at night. It's a different kind of place, you know what I'm saying? Pretty wild for a bike ride, huh? Taking these long rides also boosted my creativity. And whatever bullshit I had going on at the time, which was plenty, believe me, these long rides gave me a chance to really think and process some of the stuff. Did a lot of healing on these rides, and I did a lot of these rides.
Without her, I have nothing.
Our little joyride has reached its end. In 3, 2, 1, boom. Today's little adventure, we're gonna take a ride on the Schuylkill Trails in Center City. You can't be from Philly without experiencing what Philadelphia's like. That's why I like to ride all around the city. I like to absorb everything, the people around it, the vibe, the food, the buildings, take it all in. I ain't gonna say too much during this ride. This is purely vibration. But if you pay attention closely to some of the lyrics, you just might find an Easter egg. I'll see you guys at the end of this thing.
What if I simplify all and everything and begin long gone for the hesitant. If I love like a fire burns, and I fall like autumn leaves, even cry like waterfalls. Will I rise like vapor? The beauty beyond me, I surrender.
The music in this video is from a ghost friend of mine, Krister Linder. If you happen to see this video, I just want to thank you for making all those songs. You helped me through a very difficult period in my life, and watching the way you make your videos inspired me.
Even cry like waterfall. I will rise like vapor. Rise like vapor. Roll the dice.